Okay, so welcome to Conscious Lion. Today I have the chance to have a soul reading with my brother Adam, who's doing amazing work about this. I'm really curious about this, and that's why I'm willing to share with you this moment. And we're gonna discover together what is my soul path according to what he's doing and according to his magic also. So Adam, can you maybe introduce a little bit what you're doing, what is this technique, and what is the magic of this technique, and
Hi.
how did you learn also about this?
Hi, my name's Adam, V Trope. I give something called soul plan readings, which come originally, it's derived from an ancient text in the Judaic tradition, from the Kabbalah, called the Sefer Yetzirah. If you're Hebrew, my pronunciation is really poor. But yeah, so this is originally where it comes from, and then it was kind of very esoteric for multiple thousands of years. And a guy named Frank Alper last century brought it forward. He translated so that it would work in our modern alphabet. And then the latest guy to bring it into the world is a guy named Blue Marsden. And Blue Marsden channeled some more information, took away some of the vernacular that wasn't really wouldn't be understood as well like today. So sort of modernize the system, but still keep the essence the same. And then he, through the Holistic Healing College, which is based in London, started to train people around 20 years ago. So most of the people who give these readings are based in England. There's some of us starting to expand out in other places more. And it's based on the idea that everything is coded. So you have a code within your name. There's a code within a tree if you cut open a tree. Not that I like cutting open trees, but if you did, you would see there's a ring right inside each one. And then within every cell of your body, there's your DNA. So there's 200 years ago, if you ask someone, oh yeah, if you inside every cell of your body, you can see what your hair color will be, how your brain works, what diseases might be latent, what diseases are manifest. People would say, oh yeah, you're nuts. Like they might think you're crazy. Now it's like accepted as fact. So it seems kind of crazy, or at least it did to me when I first, just with your birth name, you can see so much. But if you see the full birth name, that's sort of a very specific code, both in how it's said and then where it's written. So you have to see how it's written, because obviously I could say one thing, you have a different accent, sounds different, but when you write something, it has a certain effect that kind of like solidifies it, brings it more into form. Okay. Right? So I think I heard you saying something like that yesterday or day, right? Like writing is really powerful for manifesting.
That's true. That's so true.
So I think there's something about when you combine both how it's spoken and how it's written and bring that into one, that sort of solidifies it, brings it into creation, and from there it's like that's your main plan. Now you can change your soul plan. Your soul plan's like a roadmap of your life, showing you where you've been, where you are, where you're going, what you've been through, what you still are going through, what you've already overcome, and what you're kind of painting a picture of your soul's like, if you're fully shining in your most brilliant life, what that's going to look like for each soul. Because there's certain commonalities, right? But there's also differences in terms of what it will look like with your dharma, in terms of how your energy expresses itself. So it's letting you see where you've been, all the progress you've already made, so it can be very affirming, and then it's also showing you where you can still keep going towards or moving towards, while staying in alignment with
the ways of progress.
The now, right, the ways of progress, and also gives you a lot of clarity in terms of like of your dharma. Like if you're trying to say, oh, where am I focusing my efforts? Like, well, you can kind of see where you want to make the biggest splash, so to speak. Not that you can't venture off at all towards other ventures. Like a lot of people will change their name, go to spiritual name or something like this, and that's like called your overlay name, which is important. Like if you have an overlay name that's like maybe 5, 10, 15% of the impact, it can definitely give more direction or slightly redirect some of the energy in your soul plan. It can also disperse it. More often than not, if it's like a channel name or like a spiritual name, it's a good overlay name is what I've seen. And I've seen some really amazing overlay names. If it's like a married name or something like this, sometimes you can see all sorts of interesting effects. But whatever that is, if you have an overlay name, that's still my secondary impact, right? I tell people if all you had to do was get a name change, and that was then like the dominant name, we could just all call ourselves Jesus Christ and Buddha and forget the whole like meditation and yoga, and, just go around and we'd already be there, right? So it's the name is the overlay name does have an impact. It can move us in a certain direction, but it's always about how it fits in with the birth name, because the birth name's like what you're born into with, and then you can alter it from there, but the birth name is still takes precedence. And it shows you within archetype of the 22 complete energies of the Hebrew alphabet, which is, if you look at traditionally, I think there's only 2 alphabets, where you've seen like the miracle of water.
Yes.
Okay, so did we have this talk about how I got the miracle of water? Then another guy looked at.
Yeah,
I think we had this talk the first night. Yeah, that I met you. And it's like at a microscopic level. I can't remember the name of the invention, but a guy invented a way to see what letters look like, what the sound of a letter looks like when you look at it at a microscopic level. And there's only 2 alphabets where there's actually like a direct correspondence between the look and between the sound and the look of how when it's written. And those 2 alphabets are Sanskrit, which many people who are into yoga know as like the language of the mantras and very holy sacred language, and the other one is Hebrew. So it's pretty amazing that there's 2, and they're both very ancient and considered very sacred languages. So this gives Hebrew a certain significance in the sense that when you look at the 22 energies and they're each associated with the Hebrew letter, it's not random per se, because they actually represent very specific things, unlike maybe the modern alphabet that we use. Not that that doesn't represent anything, but it's not as quite as active of a science based off of what they've looked at a microscopic level as these 2 ancient alphabets. So so when you're looking at this, then you have to be able to see how these 22 letters correspond to a complete cycle. Because combined, it's like because they each represent something very specific, together it forms like a complete wheel, so to speak, coming full circle. So then we're looking within the scope of these 22 energies of completion and seeing where these different energies fit in within the wheel.
So it can mean that when you pass through the 22 gates of this alphabet, you have done a round onto your soul evolution?
Well, yeah, that's, I mean, it's just interesting because the thing is in Soul Plan, as you'll see when we get into the ring, there's 7 different, like, data points, right? So you have the Star of David, so it's not like a life path number where you just have one number and you say, oh, now you're on 22, this is it. So you can have, like, for instance, you could have a Soul Destiny 22 for, but it's exceedingly rare. Especially, it's almost impossible, to be honest. Like, if you look at, like, for instance, the name Buddha just by itself,
yes,
that's a 22 for Soul Destiny, which I thought was interesting. But that's almost impossible to have. You have to have a very short name with letters with a low value. So not low value in terms of they don't matter, but low numerical value. So it's very tough to have the Soul Destiny for completion. It's very, very rare. But you could have other energies. You could have 18-9 just for finality and solution. It's almost like 18 and 22. Those are the sort of 2 energies that are most linked to the sense of finality. You could have 12-3 is the most expansive, looking to expand, which could be growing the most, which could also be going back. Many of the different energies can start to move towards self-realization. You have to see kind of how, though, they fit in, because there are some more worldly energies, some more spiritually inclined, and sort of depending on where they line up in the soul plan, sort of will depend on where, how you want to bridge the different worlds.
Amazing.
So,
okay. So let's explore it.
Let's explore it.
I follow you.
Okay, so we're just going to start with the prayer. So what's your intention for the reading?
I would say more insight into my mission.
Okay, great. A quick summary of the soul plan reading here of Leonel Martinez, also known as Leo. Do you want me to? I'll talk to you directly.
Yeah,
so your worldly challenge is the 3 is linked to the depths of knowledge, to learning to express yourself at deeper and deeper levels authentically, to really to be open to listen, to be willing to navigate your emotions at deeper levels. There's a tendency to shut off from all this. With the 3-3, it's linked to the Mars energy, so it's someone who has very strong initiatives, very strong charge, learning to balance this in a way where you're able to express yourself, but it's harmony, so not aggressive or vain or egotistical, and there's a balance here, and also it's coming from a place of strong self-worth. This is the polarity of wealth and poverty. So learning to find your own inner worth, and as you express this, then this naturally tends to be reflected the more you work through this, and also if you have any limiting beliefs around money, things like this, to transmute. These are the energies of someone who loves to teach. So your worldly talent is all about emotional intelligence, about this chameleon-like ability to adapt to the world, earth, emotions, and society, of being really grounded, connected to Mother Nature, connected to Gaia. This we're talking about in the spiritual goal. This is like the ultimate goal here, but in the worldly talent, it's using this emotions, this ability to understand people at a deep emotional level. And you can use this in a variety of ways in terms of your Dharma, but really in terms of the most important thing is here to gain this grounded sense, and this grounded sense helps you actually connect to a more healthy sense of self-esteem. It helps you to express yourself. It helps you to unblock your throat and do all these things that 3-3 can sometimes restrict in the challenge. Your goal here then is with the 15-6 is to come into a deep state of inner equanimity, to connect to your gut, to connect to that strong gut instinct, and to manifest and create. This is one of the best energies for manifestation, and for energies to really come to a place of deep inner both equanimity and centeredness, but also creativity and creation of what you want to do in your life. And so this is like the theme here: expressing groundedness, emotional intelligence, and creativity in your worldly chart. Your spiritual chart, you have your spiritual challenge. You go with or against spirit. It's an evolved soul energy. It's someone who's been here many times, like to many past lives and many different realms, so to speak. And you're kind of learning and seeing in some of these past lives, maybe you had some difficulties, you did something you regret, there was a heavy sense of burden responsibility, maybe some overlying guilt, or the sense of guilt or shame that's deeply embedded within the subconscious. And it's really learning to kind of move past this and step into the inner mastery of this energy, because this energy that not everyone can have. It's energy of someone who's really been around the rodeo, so to speak, and is looking to reconnect to your own inner mastery and share that with the world, and do it for spirit rather than for the ego, or to do it in service of love and in service of, use your own power, so to speak, in service of love rather than in service of whatever else. So the more you connect with this, your spiritual talent to help you get there, which is like the key, like I said, the talents are the keys, is your connection to like the angelic realms, this very strong pioneering energy of the 5 coming in, very connected to the soft, very angelic realms, and learning to ground this down is the key here, because if the 5 energy is not grounded, then it tends to have problems asserting itself. So grounding this 5 energy down, then when we get into this being a bit of a revolutionary or a bit of a pioneer in terms of how you're expressing yourself, teaching, showing others the way, channeling deep and new information, and your goal here is to really embody this and bring it all the way down to the earth, because like the 5 energy needs that grounding anyhow, and the 8 energy is all about connection to earth, to Gaia. It's the seat of clairvoyance, connection to nature spirits, getting people connected to their bodies, getting people connected to nature, getting people to move past trauma, getting people into the realm of the emotions, into emotional sensitivity, and being able to just make an impact. You can also use this in marketing yourself and helping in all this. And in the middle of all this, your soul destiny is all about balance. So we have the ethereal energy of the down to earth, and your soul destiny of balance is about bringing this all together in a nice tidy package. It's linked to sexuality, balancing sexual energy in a harmonious way, bringing this into the world so that we can not be all in the world, completely ignoring the spirit, not completely in the spiritual, but not really embodying the spiritual knowledge down into our bodies, because we need that embodiment to really be able to share love, to be able to actually make an impact in the world. So it's all about finding this. You're a natural teacher. You have a lot of great teaching abilities. You have a lot of great expression abilities. and using this ability to teach, to find balance, to find harmony, to bridge some of the more ethereal energies you have, like the 5 and 18, down with the 8 energy, which you have twice, and then also bringing the creative elements that you have as well. And when you combine all this, it was a really powerful soul plan with a really nice balance of different themes. One of the most balanced soul plans I've seen. So
amazing. Thank you so much for this reading. Actually, I'm just amazed how accurate it can be. You will find, if you are more interested about all the details of this chart, I will do a podcast that I will just embed into down the video. And what else we can say? Adam, where we can find you?
So I have a Facebook page, which I'm a little slow on the social media game still, but it's called Infinite Love Healing. So that doesn't have so much info about Soul Plan, but you can also add me on Facebook at Adam V Trope, or you can add me if you want WhatsApp. I have a Mexican WhatsApp, +521 984 137 9126. So any one of these different ways you can get in contact with me. I give these readings. It's only a once in a lifetime reading. It's not something you have to get many times, which I personally love because it's empowering. It's not like creating any dependency. It's connecting you to your own soul's wisdom that you already know, which is why it tends to resonate really deeply with people, and allows you to step into your own power and really step into what you want to create in your life, and just be very affirming and also give guidance in terms of where you've been, where you're going, and hopefully inspiration as well. So if you're interested, just connect with me either through Facebook, Adam V Trope, through WhatsApp, through Leo, if you can't find me.
I will put all your details down the video anyway.
Yeah, and I do the readings over Skype or Zoom or some way over the internet. So
amazing. So I hope you enjoyed this moment with us. If you want to subscribe to this channel, don't hesitate to click the red button down below. And we see each other in the next video. For us, we're gonna ground ourselves and ground all what we receive. And we see each other. Bye bye. Mwah.